And now we return to the case of the Cunningham Heritage.
How did you know they were married?
Weren't you?
Yes, a week ago.
Then you do benefit by my brother's death. You're his heir.
I don't know if I am or not. I only know I didn't kill him. I swear I didn't.
Where were you married?
We went down to Brighton last weekend.
Well, why didn't Peter say anything about it?
I don't know. He asked me not to say anything, so of course I didn't.
I'm afraid, young lady, I'll have to ask you to accompany me to headquarters.
Stand.
Excuse me, Inspector, I think I should tell my mother.
Oh, yes, of course.
Tell me, Holmes, how did you know they were married?
Well, the man's hands had the remains of a sunburn and the fading marks of a narrow ring, but not as yet that indentation of the finger a ring generally leaves. A weekend in the sun at Brighton explains the whole thing perfectly.
I didn't notice these things.
Yes, I know. The young lady's hands were also sunburned, and to the same degree.
Then the case is solved.
Yes, it would appear so, wouldn't it?
What are you looking for?
Now, do you see that?
What?
Here, use this.
Why, that's only the cut in the carpet.
Yes, but it's a fresh one.
Yes, but what does it mean?
That's a good question.
We'll stop looking for clues now, Holmes.
Ah, you've solved the case then?
Completely.
Oh, splendid.
Seems this girl had a record. 9 months in the woman's prison in Holloway, from the 21st of February, 1892, to the 21st of November, 1892. She was employed as a governess and convicted for stealing £300 from her employer.
It's quite true. I knew you'd find out sometime. I made a mistake 5 years ago, but I paid for it. But Peter knew all about it before we were married. I never tried to hide it from him.
You didn't know what else you had in mind.
I had nothing else in mind except that I loved him.
I'm afraid I must ask you to go with the office on this. Rather, madam. Well, that's how I like my cases. Fast and simple.
Oh, you must tell me some more about it.
Well, there's nothing to tell, really. Her story was that Peter asked her to call here at 10 sharp. She arrived, found the door open for her, came in here and found him writhing on the floor with a knife on his chest. She screamed, pulled it out, and just then Brother Ralph walked in. Peter died without saying another word. So she stabbed him for the inheritance and was caught in the act. Simple.
Well, falling off a log. Couldn't be simpler, could it, Watson?
I still think it's a tragedy.
Yes, but in my job, Dr. Watson, we run up against it all the time. Huh?
No, thank you. Well, I suppose you've had some amazing adventures.
Yes, but one learns to have a real philosophy of life and get a good perspective.
Yes, I suppose. But just the same, I think it's a pity.
Just another case of a clever girl being too clever.
The clever girl who intended to murder her husband, he certainly chose the most stupid possible way to commit the crime.
What was that?
Well, what's this?
Checkbook.
Oh, amazing deduction, Lestrade. Look.
So Peter Cunningham drew a check for £1,000.
6 weeks ago, and 5 weeks ago, and 4, and 3, and 2, and that's all.
Well?
They're drawn to cash.
Well, I don't get your point. He was a very rich man.
Well, it's a great deal of cash.
It was his own money. I suppose he could do what he liked with it.
You may have hit the proverbial nail, Lestrade.
Now, look here, Holmes. You're trying to start something that just doesn't exist.
Do you think so?
I have a great deal of respect for your opinion, Holmes. But your trouble is that you can't leave things alone. If there isn't a mystery, you have to make one, or you're not happy.
You're right, I'm not happy. There are marks on the carpet indicating a struggle. The man whose body was carried out of here was over 6 feet in height. If he had struggled with the girl who had left here, I don't think he'd have lost.
She surprised him.
Oh, but he was expecting her.
That's her story. I'd say she sneaked up on him.
What, had stabbed him in the chest? How do you sneak up on someone and stab him in the chest, Lestrade?
Now, look here, Holmes. You're trying to start something, and I just won't stand for it. That girl's a jailbird, and she's guilty, and she's going to hang. And that's the end of the case.
I see Inspector Lestrade is up to his usual mental gymnastics, trying to hammer square pegs into round holes.
Well, Lord, it's been a great pleasure meeting you, Inspector.
I warn you to keep away from that man, Holmes, or you'll be insane in less than a week.
What time is it?
Hmm? Oh, 10:30.
Perhaps you'd like to take a little stroll with me.
Why?
I'd like to investigate this afternoon's affair a bit further.
Oh, yes. I'd like that. I thought you'd forgotten about it.
Not at all. I've been thinking about it all evening. Shall we go? Then we must exchange our thoughts en route.
Where are we going?
To the Cunningham house.
I didn't know you'd made an appointment there.
I didn't.
Oh, well, who do you expect to see?
No one, I hope.
Well, I'm terribly sorry, Holmes, and I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean when you say you want to go to the Cunningham house and you don't... You can't do that.
What?
Well, you can't break into the house.
Why not?
It's against the law, that's why not. Why, if we're caught...
That's it.
What is?
If we're caught.
But that makes no difference. It makes no difference at all. The thing is, if we're caught, it's against the law. Quickly now. But look, Holmes, we can't... Come on.
Good evening, Inspector.
Good evening, Sergeant. Everything all right?
Yes, sir?
I just thought Sherlock Holmes might have dropped by.
Where'd you get the key?
Oh, the key is a burglar's too. A burglar's too?
Is the street clear?
Yeah. How do you know he's out?
Because I had a spy watching the house. Go through that cabinet.
What am I looking for?
Well, papers, bank statements, anything to indicate passage of money from Peter Cunningham's account. Go on.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Looking for something and you don't know what in order to catch somebody and you don't know who. Quite ridiculous. Nothing over my side.
Keep looking.
Who do you think's got it? Whatever it is we're looking for.
Why did Peter Cunningham try to hide the fact of his marriage? A week or a month would remain indifference as far as his mother was concerned. She would never have consented to his new bride anyway.
He married her to prove to me that my blackmail wouldn't stop him. And then he withheld the fact in order to give me 1 week to clear out of the country before he exposed me.
The money he paid you went to buying up your promissory notes.
I was being pressed, Mr. Holmes. My brother's engagement to a jailbird gave me a perfect opportunity to extract a little money from him. In fact, if he hadn't been such a bullhead, it would have gone on for quite some time.
A jailbird, as you put it, makes the perfect murder suspect.
Perfect, Mr. Holmes. And you and Dr. Watson make perfect burglary suspects. When I report your death to the police, they can't possibly blame me for defending the sanctity of my home.
Well done, Watson.
Oh, I could have done a bit better, only it was my bad shoulder.
Quite all right, Watson. Think no more about it.
So that's our murderer.
Yes, the only possible one, of course. Only a man could have struck that blow. Peter died, as you say, within 3 or 4 minutes.
And there was a bobby outside the whole time.
Yes. Crystal clear.
No, it's completely obvious. Well, what do we do now?
What's going on here? Who fired that shot?
We will sit with the good inspector, and with the aid of our evidence, a bit of logic, and a few simple diagrams, we will endeavor to convince him that night follows day and that 1 and 1 inevitably makes 2.
How did you two get in here anyway?
Now, Inspector, calm yourself, calm yourself. Come, sit down. Now, there's a good fellow. Sit right here. Now, you see, we have a great deal to talk about.
Also present with Inspector Lestrade was Dr. John Watson and a personal friend of the inspector's, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. ridiculous. It's fantastic. This isn't the way it happened at all.
This will revolutionize investigation, Watson.
This whole account is a lie.
Fingerprints, Watson. That's the coming thing.
Oh, nonsense. What are you going to do about this?
Bit more research. Here, give me your fingers on this sheet of paper.
Oh, were you going to sit there with these disgusting little smudges and let them get away with this?
Beg your pardon?
Well, I won't. They're going to hear from me. Brilliant inspectorless trade indeed. Why, it took you 3 hours to convince that bonehead. I don't know. Never in mind his life by her. This young lady was innocent.
I wonder if he got more than a shoulder wound in Afghanistan.